Hey y'all, what's up? Chad Wright comes to you here once again on the channel, Team Righteous, and today we're working on a 2006 GSXR 600. We've got it on the dyno. We're not making dyno pulls today on the bike in the video, but I just wanted to touch on something with y'all really quick. It's a very common thing that a lot of people do, and I don't think they realize what they're doing to their bike. And so I'm going to show you what it's doing to the bike on the dyno. We've got the graphs here, and if you're looking to make a free 15 to 20 horsepower out of your Suzuki motorcycle, pay attention to this video right here. We're going to teach you how to do it. So you're wondering to yourself, what is it that you're going to tell me how to do to my bike to be able to gain an extra 15 to 20 horsepower? Well, I'm going to tell you this right here. It's a very common mistake that a lot of people make. A lot of people, and this bike right here, I actually don't even understand why it's done this way, but it was done this way. So generally when people change their levers, they'll put aftermarket levers on there, and the aftermarket levers won't let them pull it into the bar far enough. And whenever you can't pull it into the bar far enough, it won't let you release this button here that's up under there. There's a clutch switch on all Suzukis. You have to pull the clutch in to start the bike. So a lot of people will just go in here and they'll cut these two wires right here and they'll tie them together so the bike will start. And the bike will start without pulling the clutch in. Well, unfortunately, whenever you do that and you leave it hooked up, there's nothing wrong with it. It's going to run and everything, but you're robbing yourself of horsepower. And so we had the bike here in the shop. We've been doing some repairs to it. It came in with problems of running rich and had nothing to do with this right here. We didn't get to that point, but it had other electrical problems that we fixed those electrical problems, put new plugs in it, fixed some vacuum leaks that it had as well, got everything squared away, and the bike was running good. So I said, hey, let me make some dyno pulls, make sure it's making the horsepower that it should be making compared to what these bikes generally make. And I said, let me do this right here. So I seen how they had it wired up. I said, well, I'm going to go ahead and make the pulls the way that they have it set up, and I'll know if it's down on horsepower or not. I said, then I'm just going to unhook these right here, and I'll make a pull too, and I'll see if it really makes a difference. So does it make a difference? Yes, absolutely it does. I've known it made a difference. I've heard people tell me before that they done it that way before, and you could tell the difference in the horsepower that was down. And what it does is when your bike in the ECU has multiple maps. One is your regular maps for first through sixth gear. There's a different map for every single gear, different timing, different fuel, different fuel that it adds. And then the secondaries also were different in every single gear as well. In neutral, that is completely different. Neutral has its own secondary throttle valve, which is the second set of valves that are in the top of your throttle bodies. Those are controlled differently in the neutral map. The air fuel, or the fuel that's added, is controlled differently. The timing is controlled differently, and just everything about it is completely different. And whenever the bike thinks the clutch is pulled in, well, you got a lower rev limiter, you've got a different timing curve, you got a different fuel curve, you got a different everything. Everything about it's different, and it's made to. There's no reason why you should have all the horsepower in neutral or with the clutch pulled in. So the bike automatically faults to that map, and it's nothing wrong with the way it's designed. It's designed to, you pull the clutch in, start the bike up, and immediately put it in gear and go. When you put the bike in gear, it's going to change to the correct map that it's supposed to be. But when it thinks the clutch is pulled in, it's going to be in a safer map. That way, whenever you got the guy that's at the motorcycle meet who's banging off his rev limiter with the clutch pulled in, well, it's got less timing, it's got less it's got the fuel altered and everything else or whatever, so it's not putting out as much power, so it's less damaging on the engine. They know people are going to do that, so they try to prevent damages down the road. It's just kind of a little bit of a preventative maintenance for them and their department. So anyways, I know everybody wants to see the graph, so I'm going to switch it around here to the computer. I'm going to let y'all see the graph here. I'm going to try to get it pulled up, make sure I got the right one, because I was looking at it a moment ago up on the TV So it's a little bit different once I unplugged the laptop from it. So anyways, I'm going to try to make it where you can see. I know the computer gets a little blinky, so I'm going to try to get as close as I can. Maybe it won't affect it any or as much whenever we do this, but I'm going to switch around here and show y'all everything that was on it. And like I said, this bike is untuned. Does it have a power commander? Does it have a TRE? It doesn't have any of that stuff on it. We didn't tune this bike at all. The customer's not, not asked us to tune the bike. I just put it on the dyno because the dyno's a tool, and everybody that you always hear you say that, now you understand why. We were testing to see why the bike was running rich. I found the issue why it was running rich, fixed the issue, tested the issue, made sure it was tested and was running like it was supposed to, and now we're good to go on that instance. But I got some information from it, so I wanted to share it out there. All right, so as you can see here, we made 86.16 horsepower. I'm going to try to get that up there so you can see it. And we made 37.8 foot-pounds of torque. So we made 37.8 foot-pounds of torque. Might as well call that 38 to make it simpler math. So we made 38 foot-pounds of torque at 11,800, and we made 86 horsepower at 12,100. So that's where we're starting off at. So now, whenever I turned around and unhooked those wires and made another pull, this is how much it gained. And I did make multiple pulls to make sure and verify this right here. So I made multiple pulls with it wired up. The results were the same. Made pulls without it wired up. Results were the same. So there's no glitches in that. So here's where we ended up at on the run with the clutch switch unwired. And as you can see right here, we made 103 horsepower at 13,950 RPMs and 42.9 foot-pounds of torque. So we gained 5 foot-pounds of torque and we gained 17 horsepower. So, and for anybody that's wondering, that's huge. On this bike right here, this bike here barely makes over 100 horsepower, and that's what these Gixxer 600s normally make. On our dyno when they're stock, they make right around 103 to 105 horsepower. I think I've seen one make like 106 that was stock with that before it was ever tuned or anything. So it's making the horsepower it's supposed to be making. So it's running correctly. It's running like it should. Air fuel ratio, whatever, everything can be touched on it. As you can see from the factory, air fuel ratio goes kind of lean right through here and then goes rich over through here. They're not tuned for performance from the factory. I mean, they're designed for performance. They're designed to make good power, but they're not dialed in for that. They're not worried about that so much as they're worried about passing emissions. That's what they have to do. They have to meet emissions. We tune race bikes. And by race bike, I mean, they don't exactly know where they're being raced at, but everything that we tune here is all race bikes. So if you're looking to get your race bike tuned, be sure to hit us up here at 57 Motorsports. We can get you taken care of. We can find you horsepower. Sometimes it's things like this right here. I've seen people with 600s, 750s, 1000s, and the later models just wouldn't let you do it. They had a way of knowing, so it would automatically throw a fault code for it, and it'll be a weird fault code like a C40, which is your IEC map or your IEC controller. So it's your idle air control, and that's what controls where it's supposed to be idling at in the throttle bodies. It'll throw a code for that, even though there's nothing wrong with it. It's hooked up, it's working fine. It's mainly because it's for the clutch switch, and they just never did throw an extra code in there for it. But anyways, we're going to jump off here, get some more work here done in the shop. I just wanted to bring y'all that little bit of information because I know everybody's always looking for horsepower, and a lot of people make this mistake. A lot of people wire these wires together. Generally, like I said, it's usually because they're changed the levers and they want to be able to keep those levers on there, and so they'll just wire the wires together, and it just doesn't work. The best bet to be able to do that, if that's what you absolutely just had to do, would be to break those wires and then put a button in there that would work just like the clutch switch works. That way, whenever the button is out, the wire is not connected or the loop is not made, and then whenever you push the button in like a clutch switch, it'll be just like pulling the clutch lever in. So you just have to push the button, get it to start. As soon as you let out the button, it will break the loop and switch into the normal map. But anyways, we're gonna jump off of here, get some more work done. Appreciate all of y'all. Drop down in the comments below if you got any other kind of tech questions or anything like that out there. We'll be happy to answer them. See ya.